59% of my subscribers have said they would be starting a new world, and so today I wanted to show you not just one, but 5 incredible starting seeds that will give you a true taste of 1.19 in a way that you just couldn't have experienced before this update. We'll start with the first one, which you can get by typing in these digits, and you'll spawn into something quite wonderful. It is a Mesa Mountain. This is one of Minecraft's most stunning biomes, although it did come in the last update, so I know what you're saying, where's the 1.19 goodies? And the good news for that is you don't have to go very far at all. There is a cave right next to spawn that has a dripstone, as well as this lovely waterfall you can jump right into, or if you're really brave, you can just take the leap into any one of these water sources elsewhere, and all you need to do is head just a little bit down to where the deep dark is found, because as we all do know, it's only found below Y0, and boom, what's that? You find a whole deep dark sculpt biome. That's right, you do. Fun fact, you can actually find the biome without ever finding the ancient city, and it looks like that's what has happened here until you look deep enough, and so it gives you a good opportunity to explore the biome before exploring the structure. If you want to see the deep dark as a separate, fully functional feature, this is the way to do so. It is really quite an interesting thing. Again, it's a lot of sculpt blocks that you can pick up with Silk Touch, it's a lot of sculpt veins, it's a lot of the sculpt catalysts and everything else, but if you just head a little bit further through this massive underground cavern, do you know what you're going to find? You're going to find the ancient city. So right underneath the spawn, underneath a giant Mesa Mountain, just to remind you, you can find an ancient city which is fully fledged and has everything you want from this structure, allowing you to immediately go hunting the warden. I mean, admittedly, to your own peril on that one, as well as all of the other things you're probably going to want to do. Wow, is this nice or is this not? Also, look at this. There's an amethyst geode right below one of the structures, which is just hilarious to look at. And so, yeah, this is a beautiful seed. Overall, I'd say this is an amazing seed to experience something you probably haven't given enough of their shake above ground, as well as something entirely brand new below ground. I love that contrast. I love the way it mixes together, but I know what you're saying. Toycat, that's only one of the new biomes, and yeah, this is for most people who are just focused on the deep dark and the warden, but most of you probably care a little bit about the Mangrove Swamp, and so for those of you, that's right, the Mangrove Swamp, and on this particular seed, you spawn next to a Mangrove Swamp. It feels as though this is a fairly common thing for random seeds, but the reason it's so notable right here is because the fact that you spawn at the edge of one, so it's your choice to head further into this massive biome filled with brand new blocks like mud and mangrove and all of the other things that you want, but the other reason it's so cool to spawn next to it is because you also spawn in an ocean and also a desert biome. This means you have access to sugarcane, everyone's favorite resource, and by everyone, I mean what should be everyone's favorite resource if it's not. You'll also spawn right next to this, however, this weird mountain that if you head towards, you end up in a NPC village, and wow, what is that? A village which expands right into the Mangrove Swamp. Yes, it is. This is a fascinating thing to look at by itself, but it's also fascinating to play because so far this honestly looks interesting, but what is so compelling about this is the perfect seed for anyone out there who has this problem where they have to start new worlds every single time they play, but they still want to get the progression and things like elytras, and so for those of you who like that, you might enjoy the fact that you can dig down from basically anywhere underneath this village, and you'll find yourself in a stronghold, and not just any stronghold, by the way. You'll notice this stronghold is covered in vines, and you'll even spot some glowberries around the place. This is a lush stronghold directly below a structure which is below spawn, and also you've got chests which have ender pearls in. What more could you ever ask for if you are the type of survival player who needs to get everything but likes a new survival experience each time? You need to give this seed a whirl. Seriously, we're talking a Mangrove Swamp at the spawn with access to a village, with access to a stronghold, with a unique type of stronghold that won't match what you're finding elsewhere, which also then goes slightly down into the deep slate lair. I don't know what else to say, but if you don't give this seed a try, you're gonna have a worse day. Unless you try out the third best seed right here. This next seed is perfect for the type of player who likes a bit more of a challenge in their worlds, who wants to really max things out, and so this is from Cracked Magnet, is the 1% of the 1% of seeds, and let me show you what I mean by that. You spawn right next to a giant mountain. This is normal enough. I think what's not normal about this is the fact that there is a village on one side of this mountain, partially inside of it, and then if you look on the other side of this mountain, crazily enough, again, it's a mountain. There are not meant to be villagers in here, but on the other side of the mountain, there is a second village anyway, and this second village also combines with a ruined portal. Seriously, structure combinations in Minecraft are getting more and more crazy at the edge case of things, but you know what's crazier than that? The fact that if you dig down below this seed, you want to make sure you're doing this in a precise place, because it's a very big and very mountainous seed, which means you need to dig down a little bit further than normal, I'll admit. But if you head in the negative X, negative Z direction, you'll find this, a lovely dripstone, which has so much water pouring into it, you don't even need to think twice before jumping in. Wow, do you see the amount of dripstone in here? Sure is spiky. But yeah, if you just head down below this thing, I recommend not digging down from underneath the water because of all the dangers that poses, but instead heading just a little bit further along, and then as far as you can go on the negative Z side, after you find all of this copper, by the way, you want to dig down from here. Once you do that, you'll arrive in another dripstone cave, but you'll also notice some skulk that is lying around here. Wow, there's a lot of skulk around here. That seems like it would point to an ancient city, perhaps. Well, what if I was to tell you this seed is not just one ancient city, which is, you know, it's a nice find, it's a rare structure to get all by itself, but every single one of these portals represents a brand new ancient city. Because they're so rare, I guess they didn't think so much about collision between them all, and so what you find if you go for a second ancient city is that it's actually not very far apart at all. Do you see that? One ancient city here, just across some lava, and just not very far away at all, you'll find the second ancient city. They're entirely disconnected structures that just happen to be about a dozen blocks away from each other. That's pretty crazy by itself, right? What if I said it gets crazier though? So this is ancient city number 1. You can clearly see the portal over there. This is ancient city number 2. You've seen the portal for this already, but if you follow this second ancient city along just a little bit, this will be very hard in survival. You won't have night vision, you won't have flying, there will be wardens coming after you, but if you come to this, you'll find a third ancient city, very distinctly different to those previous two. And then if you just head a little bit below ground, the ceiling goes a little bit low in terms of head height right here, but if you just head quite low to the ground, then what you'll find is after a lot of finagling around and a lot of ancient city sprawl, it's crazy just how much this city goes in every direction, by the way. It's crazy what 4 of them combined does, because yes, the 4th ancient city portal is here, and this 4th ancient city portal, crazily enough, if you follow this to the right, actually connects back to the first one. You might need to watch a fast forward version of that, so feel free to see this right here as we label them 1 through 4. But as we come back here, you can see very distinctly, this is where we started with the 2 separate ancient city portals, meaning there are 4 portals on this seed, 4 sets of ancient cities, and whenever these portals have a use, having 4 of them this close together is not going to be clearly possible in this sort of way. Will it be useful to have 4? Probably not, but if you want to have a seed which is absolutely nuts and definitely is not intentional and is at the very edge of what Minecraft can generate, this is the absolute crazy monster of a seed for you. However, edge cases are something that I know I love and that I know lots of people love, but you're looking here for a seed that's great to start out with. So maybe instead you prefer this next seed, which is a survival island spawn. It's a little bit more generous than most survival islands. It gives you access to 3 different types of trees, but the reason I'm showing it off on a Seed Sunday video, by the way, welcome to Seed Sunday, everyone's favorite weekly series that isn't very often on Sundays anymore. But yeah, obviously we have to make an exception for 1.19. It's a lovely survival island seed. It gives you a bit more land, a bit more resources, a bit more grass and plants and biomage than any other seed. But the reason you might like it is because just offshore over there, can you see it poking out over those hills? That's right, it's Survival Island, but you can go to the Nether if you really want to. What does this have to do with 1.19? I mean, how better to survive than on a brand new island? Honestly, I would say that people love to play around with old formats, and the one big difference between Survival Island then and now is that now you can have access to mud and infinitely renewable clay, and also, when you dig down, maybe, just maybe, you find everyone's favorite new biome. I just wanted to show this as a fun bonus before we go to the final seed, which is definitely my main recommendation for just the standard survival player who's looking for an interesting survival experience from spawn. but, definitely interesting in the new sense. Because this is a seed that will spawn you on top of a jungle tree. The jungle is not a new biome, but it is most people's favorite old style biome, which is why if you want to explore the brand new above ground biome, you might appreciate the fact that this seed has a beautiful transition between the mangrove swamp and the jungle. This is something which I find to be so curious to look at, because you can see the heights are actually really comparable. It makes the mangrove swamp feel like a mangrove jungle. To me, this feels like a more unique place, but if that's not enough for you, maybe you'll appreciate the fact that the generation for this thing absolutely breaks as you head in this direction, because for some reason the mountainous, the corrosion, or whatever the seed underlying factor is, just gets crazy as you head over here, and it causes some absolutely wild terrain that also just happens to be right next to your brand new mangrove swamp, which you can chop down to your heart's content. I love seeing these two things next to each other, and I love the idea that you can probably play around with both these things should you want to. But mostly, it's just an opportunity to combine all of the new and newly widely available blocks, like clay and mud, etc. All of the new blocks that you're going to be able to find here, you can take them and you can build in a place that isn't a mangrove swamp. Because if we're being totally honest with ourselves, I love the new blocks that spawn here, but I'm never going to build a house inside one of these places. It's super dangerous to do so. There's so many dark spots. It's not a great idea. And so what should you instead do? Take your blocks and take them elsewhere. What's a good elsewhere, I hear you asking? Right over here, as you can see, there's some floating islands. They've done the work of making that exist for you. And some of these floating islands already have the grass and even some plant life laid down on them. Why not bring some mangrove wood up here? Why not bring some mud bricks up here and have some fun building around with it? That is my question to you, and that rounds up 5 seeds that I think you should try out for Minecraft 1.19. I tried to get a good variety of seeds, which were all very good for the starting player. Let me know if you thought that they were good too, and which one is your favorite, and if you're going to use one for a long-term world, please do let me know also. I love seeing, one of my favorite things about the monthly run reviews that we do is that I get to see some of your survival worlds that have started from a Seed Sunday so long ago, and so yeah, I wanted to make sure I did at least one for the new update. I hope you all enjoyed Seed Sunday. We're going to be playing around a little bit with the new update, and then we'll see where things go from there. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you in a live stream. That's right, I'm back in the UK. I hope as you're watching this video, and so you can watch me streaming some Minecraft on Thursday. It's gonna be fun. Gonna do something dumb with the Warden. I look forward to seeing you there. But for now, I hope you enjoyed your time here, because goodbye.